Dohnte Meyers joins us, a 2025 West Division All-Star in the CFL with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and of course a Grey Cup champion, fresh off signing with the Cincinnati Bengals in the NFL. How does that sound, Dohnte?
It sounds like a dream come true, man. It's amazing to be here. Of course, the hard work is part of the process, but to live your dream and the process and people you meet along the way, like the CFL, the NFL, those names, being attached to my name, that has a good ring to it.
You mentioned your name there, and I've always wanted to ask you this over the last couple of years, but never actually thought of it. How did you come up with the unique spelling for Dohnte?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dohnte.
Okay, so it starts with my father and my mother. So my dad, his name is Dwayne, and all my siblings, there's five of us, we all have the D, like we all have D names. And my mom's favorite name was John, so she's like, Dante and John, and put them together. And so that's why I spelled like that, because she loved the name John. So
I like it. It's unique,
yeah.
makes you stand out,
Yep,
just
yep.
as much off the field as you do on the field, especially with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. There's lots of directions I want to go with you, Dohnte,
Mm-hmm.
but let's first go back to when you were a youngster. You were
Mm-hmm.
in New York until you were around 3 years old, moved to Atlanta. When did you first pick up a football?
I started playing football at 5, right? At our kind of local park, Shorty Howell. That's a special place to me. So I started playing my first year at 5 years old, and then baseball in 6 that following spring. And, the rest is kind of history. I've been playing ever since.
Were you a dual sport athlete the whole way through, or when did you make football your main sport?
My senior year in high school, I always wanted to. The original dream was to, go pro baseball and football, like Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, and other Kyle Murray, Russell Wilson, all those other players. But once I kind of said that I'll let the scholarship decide for me, because I love both. And then once I got a scholarship for football, it was kind of, and I didn't get one for baseball. The decision was kind of made for me, so that's what happened.
Where did you play your high school football?
Norcross High School in Georgia, yeah. So I had to transfer to go there, and because they had a great sports program, they win in basketball, football, track, soccer. It's just a good sports program over there. So
Did you only play receiver, or did you go both ways there?
no, so I originally played running back my whole life. So I didn't play receiver until college, and I was mainly a return specialist. So I had some, like, I would get like some carries at running back or catch like one pass out the backfield, but I didn't really start playing receiver until college. So
How did that transition go for you?
honestly, it was hard because I was a late bloomer in returns of like height wise and body composition wise. So running back was hard because I couldn't really block the A gap because I was just undersized. And then receiver wise, I kind of wasn't tall enough or the fastest. So I would say like my development and those skills necessary for that position just wasn't kind of, I was just a natural athlete, so I didn't really have a natural position to where I knew what skills I needed and trained at that position. But during that transition, I kind of figured it all out once I got with my trainer in Atlanta. And that's when kind of like put from the raw process into, okay, this is what it means to be a true receiver and understand that position.
When you were being recruited by NCAA schools, who else was in the mix other than Delta State?
That's a good question. Make me jog the memory. Because when I left Presbyterian, it was, I know for sure, it was Lafayette. There's another school in Pennsylvania that's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, St. Francis, and that's a two off my top. And there's one more that's missing, but Delta State was the main choice, and it was a familiar place.
Why was it familiar for you?
So my little league coach, Coach Terry, he left to go coach college around like my high school years, and then lo and behold, he somehow became the defensive coach at Delta State. And when he seen my name in the portal, like you said earlier, like my name is spelled uniquely, he was like, I know, because everybody calls me Donnie. He's like, I know that's not Donnie. Like, there's not too many people I know that's Dohnte Meyers that has it spelled that uniquely. So once he called me, I was like, yeah, of course I'm coming. Like, I trust you. This is where I want to be. You know what I'm looking for, and you know what I want to be a part of. So that culture and that environment, that's especially with him being there, just made the decision easier.
You got to thank your mom for that unique spell and helping
For
you out.
sure, I thank her all the time. Like, you have a very big role.
You go to Delta State.
Mhm.
What's the discussion like in terms of you making that transition from running back to receiver? Did that happen right away when you stepped on campus?
So I started playing receiver at Presbyterian, and that was kind of my opportunity to get on the field. But I feel like I developed into the primary receiver at Delta State. I started as a true freshman at Presbyterian, and they had all conference players: Deshaun Davis, Keith Pearson. Guys that had a lot of production. So there, I was more so understanding what it means to be a college receiver, especially at the D1 level. And then I feel like it kind of turned the corner when I got the opportunity to kind of be the guy at Delta State.
When you got to be that guy, how did you learn to go about your business and handle yourself as a number one receiver? Because it's different
Mhm.
being one of the other guys, if you know what I mean.
Honestly, I feel like having that experience with my Presbyterian teammates, seeing how they went about their day, and then also them kind of understanding, like, you're gonna have your opportunity. This isn't, I'm gonna graduate, and is this like, their vision was like, this would be my team when I was at PC before I transferred. And so I always had that in the back of my mind. And the goal is to have the work ethic to um to be the guy. You want to be able to be in a position to, wherever the opportunity presents itself, you can handle it. So if I go into the game with 10 catches, I'm prepared for it. And if I have one catch a game, I'm prepared for it. So the preparation, I feel like, is a non-negotiable, whether you're the man or you're the third option. So there wasn't really a big transition to, oh, I need to become something different because I'm now getting more opportunities.
You really had a lot of production there at Delta State in 24 games, 120 receptions for 1,542 yards and 13 touchdowns. You were first team all conference in your senior season with
Mhm.
the Statesmen. So you stand out there. And then I think the next natural question is, did you have any NFL interest, especially after a strong pro day where you ran 4.54 in the 40-yard dash?
Not a lot, honestly. Um, I mean, I'm not a scout or an NFL executive, so I don't really understand how that process works, exposure wise. But I'm grateful for how it went. The pro day was an amazing opportunity. I think there was like 20 something teams there, so I had worked out there, did the pro day. I kind of got I would say like an extended workout with the Steelers and the Colts, but we stayed in contact. And I mean, the only opportunity that kind of came out of that was just a mini camp. That's usually how the process goes with Division II athletes. Production really doesn't equate to translate to per se valued production. So it's a different experience sometimes.
At that pro day, man, you really showed your athleticism at 5'10", around 190 pounds, 35-inch vertical, and a 10-foot 6-inch broad jump. And you
Mhm.
also pushed 225 on the bench press 15 times. Like,
Yep.
this guy's an all-around athlete getting
Mhm.
after it. So you go to Atlanta Falcons training camp, the hometown team where you spent the majority of your childhood, don't end up signing a contract. But what I want to get into is, can you take us behind the scenes? How did you sign with the Roughriders? And from what I was told, there was an open tryout and assistant general manager Paul Jones was there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's an interesting time period. So, a lot of athletes that are trying to pursue the professional athlete lifestyle, and it's a job, it's a career. So, people don't really understand, I feel like, what it means to accomplish that. You go to college, and then after, if you don't get drafted or or sign a contract, you're technically a free agent. You don't have a job. So you have to kind of commit yourself to get an opportunity to play. And I knew that was what I had to do. That was the path ahead of me, and I just attacked it head on. So I told myself I would do every professional tryout available. And then I let the chips fall where they may. I still believed in myself. I had the mini camp. The mini camp was a little discouraging. It was kind of bittersweet because it's hometown. I feel like I did well, but I also understood that I can play at the NFL level and I can play football professionally no matter where it's at. And I did the CFL workout. I was here in Atlanta. And then I saw a familiar face, Paul Jones. He was at my pro day. And then after the workout, the Sask offered me a contract. And I just knew that was a place where I should be and I wanted to be. And it just made sense for where my life was at and just playing football.
It's obviously worked out very well for you. You come up and in your rookie season, immediately pop on the radar from a fan perspective. Like you were productive right away and then took that to another level in 2025. 65 catches, 1,056 yards, and 8 touchdowns to be named a West Division All-Star, as I mentioned earlier, and also help the Riders win a Grey Cup. So what was the secret there, Dohnte, behind your big jump in production from first to second year in the CFL?
I would say number one priority is health wise. I was able to stay healthy and contribute and be present. And second of all, I would say the experience and understanding, gleaning from the people that I was surrounded with, whether it was the coaching staff, they're all winners, they're all champions, and the players, the vets, like me and Trevor, have a great relationship. And I honestly knew him before I got a chance to know him before I went up to SAS. So once I got up there, I was able to glean from him, and he just kind of took me under the wing, and I learned from him on not only his approach but his lifestyle and what it means to be a pro and excel at a very high level. So I feel like over time, that's what got me to the second year where everybody was able to see.
How did you get to know Trevor Harris before you got to the Rough Riders?
So my trainer, Manny Rodriguez, played with Trevor in Ottawa. So they're kind of workout enthusiasts, and Trevor's playing at 40. Like he take care of his body. He's a professional, and they kind of shared that same sentiment in regards to working out and taking care of your body, just loving the process. And so my trainer facilitated that relationship. Like, hey man, my guys signing with SAS, man, can you look out for him and kind of show him the ropes? And when I got up there, we just fell in love with each other. So that's like a big brother for sure.
You could tell that the connection was there almost instantly
Mm-hmm.
between you, especially after you had the first training camp together in 2024. When you look back on 2025, Dohnte, when was the first time that you thought, okay, I'm having a really good season here? And of course, you want to win a title with the Riders, but did you start hearing about NFL interest in you?
Honestly, no. And I I would say I'm glad I didn't, because I was able to stay focused on and be present where my feet were. And that's something that Coach Mates preached, and something that I gleaned from Trevor. Be present and give everything you have to where you're at, because that's the opportunity that God awarded you. And I would say that my family share that same sentiment, and that just allowed me to honestly see the season all the way through. And I don't think I thought about the NFL until it was time to think about the NFL. I was like, I'm a Saskatchewan Roughrider. I think somebody asked me that during Grey Cup week. It's like, they asked me about contracts and NFL. I'm like, honestly, I'm about to play the biggest game of my life in 3 days. I'm not thinking about anything after that, to be honest. Like, I've worked very hard to get here. I've worked with my teammates. We're all sharing, a long a season out before that we feel like we came short. It's like, I'm thinking about where I'm at right now.
When you look back on the 2025 championship season for
Mm-hmm.
the Riders, if you got to pick just one play, one moment, what was your favorite?
Tommy's touchdown. The Tommy's touchdown in the West Final. Tommy's touchdown in the West Final. For a lot of reasons. First, it was the coldest game I've ever played in, so that was an experience. Just like the 2 minute drill. Uh, my best friend from home was at the game. I knew once he caught the touchdown, I was like, oh, we're about to win the game, we're about to go to the Grey Cup. I've never experienced a championship playing football, so just knowing what that whole catch and that play, it was just kind of sentiment. Like, it represented more than just putting 6 points on the board. it was just testament to our season, our hard work, getting over that hump, ending the trial, and then also getting an opportunity. Something that we felt like not only we worked for, but we were fortunate to have.
Touchdown Tommy Neal putting the
Yes,
Riders
sir.
in the
Touchdown, Tommy.
112th Grey Cup, man. But Dohnte, you're selling yourself short though because you had that key leaping catch between multiple defenders to get the offense
Mhm.
down there. Can you take us through what was the play call there and did you expect the ball to come to you?
So honestly, yeah, that drive was like surreal. Honestly, because we like watching it back is surreal because that's something that we practice and drill all the time. And so when we going no huddle, get the call from Trev, I'm like, okay, I know this. Like I know this play. Like I'm probably gonna catch it on this play, and that's what I talk about. Like me and Trevor being in sync. That's my guy. Pre snap, post snap. Okay, this ball's probably like I can imagine. Like okay, he's probably gonna throw it right here. So when I see it, like see ball, get ball. Like if he's trusting me, I gotta come down. I can't leave him hanging. And so um, that's kind of how it went. I forgot the concept name, but yeah, that's that play. Catch that, we go down, run it. I think it was like 3 yard line, and the next play they called Tommy. Like yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was just surreal. It's crazy watching back.
The season ends, you're a Grey Cup champion. But there's no rest for you, Dohnte Meyers. You had a bunch of NFL workouts.
Mhm.
Let's focus on the one with the Bengals because that's the team that you ultimately signed with. For the fans who hear about these NFL workouts all the time, what are they like? Feel free to go through the exact timelines because from what I've heard, sometimes these NFL teams get you up pretty early in the morning after possibly arriving in town late the night
Mhm.
before.
Well, it's honestly like work day. You wake up early. The day starts early, whether it's film or workouts or meetings. So it's fairly early, but not obscene. Like it's like I think like 7 or 8 a.m. But us athletes, we're already up anyway, so the day starts early. So you get there, you probably do have breakfast, kind of meet certain personnel, and then you usually either warm up, do some testing, work out, whatever that workout entails, and then do medicals, do your physical, some teams may have you work out, and then you talk with who you need to talk with, and then lunch. Then you're on about your way. It's a very seamless process, honestly, and it's I wouldn't say I don't want to use the word extensive, but it's very thorough. Like the time is used very efficiently.
You worked out for the Bengals and the
Mhm.
other NFL teams you worked out for, if people were wondering, the Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, Denver Broncos, and Miami Dolphins. Did you have a feeling leaving the facility in Cincinnati that down the line you could be inking a contract with the Bengals?
For sure, I loved Cincinnati, the whole process and the whole experience of going to work out for them, try out. Um, Everybody I met and interacted with, it had a similar field. And what people don't know is that the Cincinnati's facility is built into their stadium. And so I made a joke. I was like, "This is like the NFL version of SAS. Like SAS, our stadium, our facility is built into our stadium. So our home field is where we practice. Our locker room is in our stadium." I was like, "This feels like this kind of feels like home a little bit. I'm familiar with this. So I just kind of had that in my back pocket. Like, okay, this is. I like the way this feels. I like what coming to work could look like. I like what being in the building means, and this is honestly our home field. It's not someone that we drive far away to when we're here for 3 hours and we got to go back to our home facility. Like, this kind of feels familiar."
When you were in the building in Cincinnati, did you
Mhm.
see the head coach Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, anybody like that?
No, so I didn't really interact with the players because it was Friday. So they were practicing and we were on the tryout schedule. So we kind of didn't cross paths.
In the future, then, hopefully you're catching
Yeah.
passes from Joe Burrow. Can you believe that that's even a possibility?
Yeah, that's crazy and amazing, man. So to play with him, he's of course everybody knows he's an amazing player. He's the guy. So um, to catch passes with him, to work with him, to grind with him, to be in the film room and like kind of perfect the craft and go win games, like that's something I want to be a part of.
And what was it like for you to go back down there and actually put pen to paper on an NFL contract? You put some photos up on social media, looking fresh in the suit,
Thank you.
but just take me through the feelings, right? And all the work and hours that you put into it. And here you are signing an NFL contract.
Honestly, it was, I want to say, dream come true to an extent, but it was just amazing, and I'm truly blessed to experience that and to see my name on a contract and understanding that Dohnte Meyers isn't just me. It's my family. It's my mother and parents, my siblings. It's my church family. It's the friends I grew up with, my teammates, my coaches, my friends. Like, it's more than just me experiencing this. So just understanding what it means and being able to steward that opportunity, like, it's crazy. And then the athlete side of me is like, all right, like, it's time to go to work. Like, I can't wait to go to work.
People in Saskatchewan were hoping that the entire 2025 CFL championship team was going to come back. That was probably
Mm-hmm.
never realistic as much as a bunch of people wanted to run it back there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally leave things off with the Riders? Do you say, hey, like, I'm going to go after this NFL thing, but if I happen to come back to the CFL again, I'd like to be in the green and white?
So honestly, everybody was very supportive. Like, I feel like we have me and Sask fans, the city have a great relationship, So I feel like they want what's best for me, whether it's an NFL contract or whether it's playing green and white. I feel like they trust my judgment and the transparency of what's going on. So I have not only a working relationship but a personal relationship with a lot of people in that building. So it's always love. Sask is home. I hold that place dearly. It's where I made a lot of friends, a lot of lifetime relationships. Became a champion. It was my first professional job. So Sask's green and white is always in my heart.
What's next for you, Dante, in terms of preparing for the Cincinnati Bengals? What's to come in the offseason and training camp?
So what's next is back to work. Um, I would say my workplace has changed, but the work doesn't. And so now I'm back home in Atlanta. I'm getting back with my trainers, getting back with my team, and now we're setting a game plan to have me ready. And I was trying to go put the work in, something I love to do.
And you know what date you'll report to the Bengals for the first time when offseason activities get going?
Not yet, but pretty sure April.
April. All right.
Yeah.
Is there a crew out there in Atlanta that's pro based or, has CFL and NFL players working out and throwing all the time or anything like that?
Oh yeah. So my trainers there, there's a lot of pro athletes, so it's a familiar training group. So I train with Manny Rodriguez. So that's just U48, and then Top Shelf. That's my trainer, Steph and TJ. So it's a lot of NFL players all the time coming in, training, kind of have an off-season regimen. So I'll just be part of that group, and we'll all get ready for the NFL season and go compete.
Well, Dante, we appreciate the time. You're going to have a lot of green and white fans paying attention to the Cincinnati Bengals, the orange and black down there. In particular, my colleague on the Rider Broadcast Network broadcast, Tegan Whitco, she's grown up a Riders fan, obviously, but she's a
Yeah.
Bengals fan. So
Yeah.
this one is pretty cool, definitely for her. I can only imagine how much it means to you and your family. And a lot of people, as I said, going to have eyes on you down there to see what you can do with the Cincinnati Bengals, Dante. So we wish you all the best down there, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for
Thank you.
sharing about your experience.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you, man.